All systems have been alerted to your presence, sir.
I have a very bad feeling about this.
I hope you know what you're doing.
The Emperor has been expecting you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 32 of The Toy Chest. It is June 9th, 2025. I'm your host, Darth Moocher. I've got Scott Solo here.
What's up, nerds?
Alexander Storm is here.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
We are missing our clone, Tommy. Tommy the clone. We are missing Blitz transmissions today. It's not work this time. I'm not going to air his laundry, but he's got other priorities that we all told him, hey, you better go take care of that. Otherwise you won't be on any other shows. So
it's never gonna heal if you don't stop picking.
I mean, Tommy. But in his absence, of course, the link is in the description below to the Blitz transmission page. Go and support. Like, if you haven't subscribed, go subscribe, and we will patiently anticipate his return. With all the Star Wars toys news and everything from that perspective. But we are here. And real fast, before we get into it, because we had a very, very cool weekend. We had a kind of a cool talk going on and the future of Star Wars and everything else. But first, of course, let's get a quick shout out to our Shadow Council. Everybody on that page is much appreciated. The way we sound, the way we look is all because of you. So you can either get blamed for that, or you can take a bow. And if you want to join that ever-growing list, the QR code is right there. Scan it, see what it's all about, and see what we have in store in the future for our Shadow Council. So much appreciated. On our Wednesday show, of course, you guys will be properly shout out with voice acting and everything else that goes along with it. So in the pit, though, our other half that is not here, but they're here. Howlrunner Base, ever since that XP came on, the dude is just on there all day waiting and anticipating the Sarlacc Digest podcasting and talking Star Wars. So much appreciated, Howlrunner. I could spend the next probably hour and a half going through all your comments. I had a ton of questions from the last time, but I will save that for future content. But welcome, Howlrunner. And we've also got Stu John Jedi is always there battling for the first and second XP spot. Let's see. I'm keep scrolling. I'm scrolling.
You're going to be scrolling in a minute.
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
Commander Bly is still at work. So he'll be fashionably late to the party. Well, when you're in here, we'll catch up. We'll get it going. Of course, Scott Solo's in there answering things. Just kind of keeping the flames down. Rhino Hobbies, who we saw this week. It's always great to see Rhino Hobbies. I wasn't expecting it. It was a great surprise, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. Basil G is checking in. We have John. It's spammed up. John Graber, the space jockey. He gets to watch live tonight. Cool. I hope we write it down. So Dr. Brantley, hey guys, what's up? And of course,
I'm so happy. Finally got to meet Dr. Brantley.
Yeah, I know.
Man, it's awesome, man. It's so great getting to see everybody face to face for the first time, man. The Shadow Nose Network, man. It's a great group.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
How Runner is all here. There he goes. We can blame Hal Runner for the messy chat. Yeah, yes.
Well, I mean, honestly, Stu John, I'm not entirely sure you're completely faultless, my friend, but
60-40.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll just blame Hal Runner for that. Yeah.
Well, guys, as we alluded to, the Robo Toy Fest, who if you're on the SKN network, every week they were like, hey, this is happening. It's in Burbank, California. It was this last Sunday that just passed. And we've been there a couple years in a row. It's where we first met Alex and the SKN network. And so it's basically our anniversary, of this great alliance that we come talk Star Wars and toys and just pop culture in general. So it was cool that you guys had a major presence there. We had a major presence there under the guise of Solo there. I mean, like, it wasn't a Star-like thing, but I mean, we got our shirts on. Rhino was there. I mean, we kind of took over that event. Yeah. So, I
was told that we had the best booth there from a couple of people. So that was very, very nice.
Nice. And we're going to talk about that too when we get into it, because conventions and the quality of vendors too is very important, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like, so Robo Toy Fest went off again without a hitch. I think it's probably safe to say that we might be back next year and supporting that as it grows and grows and grows. I love it. I think it was a show that was less distracted by panels and major corporate whatever. You go in there, people walk around, we're conversing, it's great conversations, and there's things to find, right? So and when we get into more of it, like, I know, like, Alex had Toylanta that was in there, and it was nothing but praise on that. Tommy with ICCC Con, that I'm making it a priority that we get there next year.
Yes,
for both of those conventions. Make more of an effort to kind of like
cool.
Reach out and have a presence, man. But
the Robo Toy Fest, this was my 5th or 6th time going, because it used to be at the Pasadena Convention Center, and there was this little thing in between that kind of broke it all up called the pandemic. So we kind of missed a couple of years in between, but man, they came back at the Burbank Convention Center strong. It's a good show.
I love that venue. It's not too big, not too small. It's a really nice place to get to. Parking, that's where they got to work on that a little bit.
You think of somewhere that's like right across from the airport, it'd be something that they could look into. Well, let's do this. So as we are thinking about conventions, and as we're thinking about how our collections work, do we save money for conventions? Do we kind of like just play the long game, or what have you? Is there any, but we'll put that on the side just for a second and go into our Black Series Vintage Collection updates. There is none. So
no,
let's go back. So let's go back to convention talk. So basically, we got Meeks in there. Mando Mike is checking in. So I'm anticipating some sort of live stream happening. I know that the Joe one is coming up. They just did a Marvel Legends one. I'm anticipating something.
That's right. It's Yojo June is starting, right? So
before we get into San Diego Comic-Con, July, the month of July, and that's going to take over everybody's news and what have you. I think everybody's gearing up for that, but I am anticipating some sort of Star Wars live stream in between. I don't think it's going to be a big one, because, again, just to reiterate, we were told that San Diego is going to be like a very big mecca, even more so than Celebration.
Wow.
Whatever, right? I mean, so we'll kind of like keep our ears to the ground and give you guys whatever we hear, we will bring to you. But I'm excited. Like, I got goosebumps for maybe.
I know, right? I do kind of think, okay, so yesterday was our 1-year anniversary with our pal Alexander Storm and the Shadow Nose Network, right?
Yes, sir.
That was our 1-year anniversary, but it was also the 1-year anniversary of my purchase of the Cantina HasLab. So
yes.
The Cantina HasLab.
Actually, your second purchase, by the way. I'm just gonna throw that out there. It was your Second Cantina. I just wanted to interrupt there. Go ahead.
That's true, but it's still we're the 1 year mark of the Cantina, which means that things are going to start ramping up. So I'm anticipating whenever we're at Comic-Con to actually, not that we're going to be at Comic-Con, because God forbid us actually get passes to be able to go.
Don't count that out. Don't count that out.
Keep that weekend open.
I will keep that weekend open. It's July. I'm ready, man. But I'm anticipating we're starting to see samples of the Cantina. Maybe the HasLab. Yeah. Maybe they'll show the HasLab, the Cantina during the live stream. Give us some sort of updates. It's usually about that time where we start seeing what the packaging might look like.
Packaging. I was just about to say packaging.
Because at this point, I mean, I don't know if we'll get it before the end of the year. It's supposed to be in fall sometime, but they said that about the Ghost, and it came in December, right? It came like right before Christmas. Right. So, I anticipate us seeing at least an update on that. So, as far as everything else, looking at Hasbro Pulse and looking at all the pre-orders and stuff and anything that's come in, nothing has come in the last 2 weeks. So.
No, not even Black Series yet.
Here's what I'll say the common denominator is going to be for, I believe that actually you're probably going to get that Cantina right around possibly October. The reason why I'm saying this now is because the Rattler dropped in quicker than we all thought. Every one of those G.I. Joe HasLabs has been December. They said, it's going to be the summer or it'll be fall. It's always been winter, and it's always dropped off. They've got this done in record numbers. I got a feeling especially since the Cantina doesn't have any electronics or anything else in it, it's just a set and getting done. I think you're going to get it quicker than you did last year, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of in that ballpark too. And exactly reasons why Alex said the no electronics. No, it does push things. It's just I think they're on this Rattler thing, and then one at a time, right? So. Adam, just real fast. Adam S is checking in with us. We've also got Chet Maddox.
Hey, Chet.
Let's see. How do we know what's going to be at San Diego Comic-Con for Star Wars toys? Well, that's yet. Oh, actually, we might have some news we can probably talk about on that. So we'll get to that in a second.
I will say that the retro sets, the Target retro sets, are starting to show up in greater quantity at Target. So do not give up hope. They are out. They are starting to hit harder. So keep your eyes peeled. So that's the only other real update I've got. So keep your eyes peeled for those. And don't buy into that new Epic Heroes X-Wing. I've seen some reviews. I kind of want to do a review of my own, but it's I've seen people playing with it and the tendency for the wings to come off of the thing and just kind of fall apart.
And that's not cool because that's geared towards the rough and tough playability. You know what I mean? If they're breaking like that, then I mean.
Well, it's designed to come apart like that, kind of like Transformers. The way Transformers are built nowadays is they're designed to fall apart if too much pressure is put on a certain joint. It pops off so you don't break it.
Right? Yeah.
Same thing with this, but it's like it takes very little to make the wings just go pop and fall apart.
Okay.
So,
was it meant to happen like that? I mean,
I know, right?
Break up enough to buy more.
It's Red 5, and he never got shot. Well, I mean, Rogue One Red 5 got shot down, so maybe it is designed to look like that.
I don't know. Nothing to report here, nothing to see here on Black Series either. It's just anticipating the next wave, which would be SM33, Ezra, Death Trooper, or the.
That's right. SM33, Ezra the Death Trooper, and my SM33, I got a ship date change notice.
Yes.
That it's shipping sooner than anticipated. Yes. So by next week, maybe we'll next show, maybe we'll have one to show.
That's the next wave to start hitting. So look for your emails on that. Yeah, Hellrunner, we got the repacks coming to Target. Yes.
Sure.
Including a very overpriced Gamorrean Guard who is going up to $24.99 a pop, but he's now considered deluxe, I guess, because he's bigger than the average TVC figure. That's still one of those questions where I would like to be able to actually speak to somebody in Hasbro. It'd be great if we could have somebody from Hasbro on our show to actually interview, just ask not hard-hitting questions, but just say, just give us the info, what is considered a deluxe versus a non-deluxe, right? Because there's no changes in this version of the figure.
No.
What's
that's
the
what it
weight?
seems to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the Cobb Vanth, they did specific. That was one of the instances where they actually told us why it was a deluxe because of the paint apps. It was like these have twice as much paint apps, therefore it's a deluxe because of the the effort and the time. And I mean, look where my Cobb Vanth. I don't even know where he's at. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we got some predictions here in the chat. For the Cantina, I think we've got Hal Runner's calling it January on that Cantina. He's calling it.
Okay.
And I did see Amando Mike saying something about November. Let me find you, Mike.
Okay. Who ordered in the chat? Just drop us a line and let us know who ordered one. I'm curious to know.
Yeah. So how many Cantinas are we going to get to play with? November, Mike. Is
November 11th specifically. He is predicting a date. Okay.
Yeah. I think we've discussed this before, and I think Tommy has said this, so I don't know if I'm speaking out of line about the possible Star Wars Black Series exclusive for San Diego Comic-Con. And I think it was the Obi-Wan Anakin Mustafar duel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, right.
Yeah, I don't know specifics,
but I recall that.
Yeah, I think that's what is rumored to be at Comic-Con for the exclusive for Black Series. I don't know anything about the vintage collection. I haven't really heard about a lot of exclusive vintage collection. They
haven't had one since the
not a Comic-Con,
yeah, they haven't had one since the Showdown with Gideon, that box set. But my understanding is though that specifically with like Cold Slither, it is the first time that they are going to have first time in years that they're actually going to have the product there specifically to sell. Right, you go there. You order it, you get. But I seem to recall them doing that last year with the Cobra Commander, right?
They did with Once a Man. They did have him available, but the problem of that is that they said there was limits, and then they didn't limit day 1 or 2, and then they wanted to come back on that day 3, and they had to go through that the new Comic-Con portal where you had to set up in the system what time you were coming to pick it up and everything. It is, if you've been down to Comic-Con lately, they've made it a little tougher for you because you've got to pre-order this, go online, set it in what time you're coming by the booth to get it.
Yeah,
it's making it a little bit more difficult than just walking up and getting.
Well, here's my fear, guys, and I know I said this in the chat for the Toy Box Chronicles. When you guys are talking this, and back in the day when exclusive, especially San Diego Comic-Con specifically. The Thrawn set and everything, they sold them there, and we didn't have a Hasbro Pulse, right? So we actually had to have a friend get it or whatever it was, what their verbiage was on the Cold Slither thing was they're going to sell them there, and then what's ever remaining, we're going to put up on Pulse. So it's not going to be there'll be a pre-order for whatever remaining.
Dedicated amount that's going to go to Pulse.
And my question is, it's like, all right, I'm cool with that as long as we know there could be the sale of a, even though it might sell out in 3 minutes or whatever it is, because that could be one Cold Slither set or it could be a million of them, right? So I know that like they did that with Celebration for the Jon Favreau Heavy Gunner. Remember, you can buy it, you got a little card to pre-order, but you got to be at the show to pre-order, but then everything was online the next hour.
Yes.
The balance. I don't want them to go back to this first come, first serve, FOMO thing. And unless you want to get it in hand, I'm cool with that. Like, hey, people are there, they wait in line, but it should be available a day later, a month later. I don't care, but as long as it's available for us, because that's my pet peeve on collecting was those exclusives. And I'm too old for this stuff, man. What I mean?
No kidding.
I can tell you, I've almost never received or gotten an order placed for San Diego Comic-Con. It's usually always happened after the convention for any of the conventions, whether it was Serpentor, it was, Dr. Mindbender, Chuckles, every one of them. And the key to it is that like Once a Man, I think I got Once a Man 2 weeks after the convention because there was a little snafu last year. It's like, don't panic, be good about it. And the second thing is that Hasbro's in the business to make money. They're not going to limit off the stock because if you remember also, and I think Scott, you also have ordered some of the G.I. Joe stuff. They have like the standard San Diego Comic-Con convention. Then it goes to like, after convention, and then it goes to the 10/27 little thing that they do, and there's several other times they've made live streams and situations for you to pick it up, and you'll see immediately if that thing Cold Silver set sells out at Canadian Comic-Con. Emily or somebody's going to come on and be like, "Don't worry, there's going to be more supplies. It's going to go online. You'll sit there and you'll be able to get it. Don't pay those prices on eBay."
Right. But there's always that panic, right? There's that initial wave, the FOMO, the I've got to have it, I got to have it. It's like
manufactured panic.
Yes, yeah. Adam in our chat says Flavy Davy is usually his go-to for SDCC. I know, man. Flavy Davy is the man. It's great to have friends like him.
Yeah. In the past, I've had people there and like, "Hey, you need this?" I'm like, "Yes, please." PayPal, boom. Done.
Yeah. That's what you and I do, man. I go shopping for you, and he's like, "Don't even hesitate." Money
right there.
I need and that's the thing is someone's out looking out for you.
Yeah.
Wait. Pay them right then and there as they're checking out. Their bank should be hitting. You got to take care of your dealers, man.
Plastic crack dealers.
Yes. Got to the Cantina Fest. Hell Runner ordered one. We got John Graber ordered one. Basil G has one coming in.
Whoa, several.
Yeah, several. I think Hell Runner said he got the deluxe. So
I got the deluxe also.
Yeah. Adam did not order the Cantina. He's very selective.
Okay.
So well,
cool, man.
What else? Okay, yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see. This is gonna be a test round again, and I'm hoping that Hasbro does not, and they understand that. And if they're already trying to combat the third party, the eBayers and all that stuff, this is not the way to go. If you just limit it to a in-person thing, especially knowing that Comic-Con is so out of reach for a lot of people, making an in-person thing is evil. If it was like, hey, you could have came and you could have gotten a ticket and you could have, I mean, then it's like, all right, well, I was just didn't want, you didn't want to do it. But Comic-Con's becoming so exclusive for just, for being an international event to,
Now, I'll tell you something. I was thinking about this idea just as you said it, which would make better sense for Hasbro. If they had a second off-site area in San Diego, they said, since you can't get in, we'll have a retail store where you can actually go and actually get your walk-in order. That way, you're not limited to, you can't cross that magical line to get in to get a badge into San Diego Comic-Con. Maybe they should do something like that, where it would be one,
Hasbro pop-up. Yeah.
They've done the Hasbro Pulse. They did a museum last year where they had like a lot of masks and a lot of their old archive stuff. This may be an issue to get people that can go to San Diego. Some people just go there just to have dinner, meetups with people and everything, but they just don't go inside.
Right.
This would combat that exclusivity issue.
Yeah.
And that's what Super 7 has, right?
Yes.
Super 7 has the retail store outside near Petco Park. And Kevin and I actually worked that convention or that show a couple years ago dressed as G.I. Joes. It was so much fun to do. But and that's where, if you still want to be a part of San Diego in the Comic-Con scene, people will do trades in rooms and stuff like that. If you could get the hookup and know who people are, people that are there, you can actually still kind of experience the whole convention feel without having to spend the money to go into the convention itself.
You absolutely can. You can have the experience. San Diego's limiting accommodations, but it's at least they try. Yeah,
they do. Man, that place is, I went 18 years in a row, and I know, Moocher, you went many years in a row, and man, that place is freaking, you're elbow to butthole people everywhere you go, man.
You turn around the wrong street, then you go, oh, I'm not in San Diego anymore, but you are. It's like, I got to get out of here. The Walking Dead setup is real.
Also, we should always, before Comic-Con, we should do our do's and don'ts of going down there.
Yes, that's a great idea.
I'm going to throw out one for you.
Yeah.
In Southern California, there's multiple cities you can stay in before San Diego. It might make sense to stay in Oceanside, stay in Escondido, stay in one of those smaller cities, and then just rent a car and drive down there. That might be a little smarter than paying those crazy prices in downtown San Diego.
We did that Escondido Hotel Circle. I mean, that's where we would book all our rooms. Very lucky. Every so often we would get one right down the street. But it was like a miracle that even opened up and cheap as it was back in the day.
We found a hotel once. It was right off the freeway, so right off the 15. Once you get not the 15, but once you get right into downtown San Diego, it was right there. We got there. It was inexpensive. We get in, and it was free beer.
Oh, wow.
Free beer for everybody that wanted to go. And I get there, and one of my favorite comic book artists who is drawing Legion of Superheroes was there.
Wow.
And he did Legion of Superheroes and Aquaman and stuff. So he was showing me pages of yet unpublished art that he was doing. And so Jesse and I just sat there and drank beer and talked with the guy for hours. It was fantastic. Wow. Those days are so long gone.
It is.
Dude, John, a guy walks up in a trench coat. You want figures? Open up the coat to reveal all the finest bootlegs known to man. It happens out there.
That's only the competition. Don't do that Morrison's room. Don't do that.
Yeah, Stu John, stay in TJ. It's right. It's 15 minutes away. Save a fortune. Hell Runner, you can find me at the beach.
There you go, Hell Runner. There you go.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you brought up the whole like convention do's and don'ts. I think that's smart because when Celebration rolls around, that's gonna be a 3-4 day event in LA, and I think that there's a lot to kind of plan and prep for. It's never too early. I posted in our Discord, which the link is working below, a road to Celebration, and I've already posted the app link that you could click and get it ready to go. It might say Celebration Japan, but it rolls over to the next celebration, and you can find out all the ticket prices and scheduling and all that stuff, so it's never too early to prepare for that because it'll come fast, so again, Robo Toy Fest, we got to meet up and everything. And I kind of, we were kind of talking about conventions for a long time. I think like SKN talks, is it viable these days? Is Comic-Con the only outlet? All these things and all these like newer shows going all over the place throughout the country, and I'm sorry, the pit. Sorry. But I always said, like East Coast, I've been kind of like living vicariously through, Blitz Transmissions and SK and stuff, as far as like you guys going to conventions. And I'm like, wow, there is a big difference between shows that are put on. You can see the different energy, you can see all these things. And you can see the level of vendors and what the offerings are versus like Comic-Con, where it's LA Comic-Con. We have Ontario. We have all the corporate ones. We have WonderCon, San Diego. I mean, it's a lot of corporate events. Again, a lot of things are out of touch. I see vendors busy, but they don't pick and choose the vendors like these other shows. Where if you want to find these grails and stuff, and
it's the same vendors, right? Like you've got t-shirts, superhero t-shirts and stuff. They've usually got 6 locations scattered throughout a convention floor. Or you've got here's that one guy with a box of discounted. Oh wait, he's over here too. Oh wait, he's over. You get repetitive, and it's just you see the same thing over and over.
It's like a mirrored showroom floor, like the
West,
the East. It's I know, especially the t-shirt guy at Comic-Con. He's got 4 locations on that damn floor, but but it got me kind of going with, I had a goal in mind going into Robo Toy Fest, which was like, okay, I wasn't vending there. I was just helping Scott out, and I was like hanging out with the SKN. I was like, all right, I have a goal. I wanted to find some vintage Star Wars stuff. I want to try to add to my vintage collection going on. Not the vintage collection, but
true vintage.
Kenner. Yes. Yeah. And I was like surprised on what I found, what I got to find. I actually found, I didn't buy it, but I saw a $600 Yak Face, a $300 Animaniman. I saw a $200 Luke and Stormtrooper, or $300.
No, that was $400. Luke and Stormtrooper was $4. It was the Haunted Carbonite that was $200.
$200, but but the fact that, like, I remember going to WonderCon and not finding one of those figures, not one of those last 17 figures at all. I remember going to like Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, and not, especially LA Comic-Con at this point, there's a lot more pops and anime. I was like, there's not one vintage collection or vintage figure here, and that's where it's like, okay, this has got to change. So I was pleasantly surprised on what I was able to find and purchase a couple of things and add to my collection. So it got me thinking, like, all right, should I like start to really dive into these shows, even though it might be a first time pop up? It could be a show like Robo, which is around for several years, but growing, you know, before they bring in all these, you know, lights and cameras and stuff, because they, you know, it's inevitable. They grow to the point where, you know, they give a choice to make, union or non, right? And that's where they have to make those decisions too. So,
and it gives you ideas too. It gives you ideas. Ooh, what is there something? Maybe there's something behind this. Maybe there's something behind this idea of having a convention, right?
Exactly.
Of a dry spot.
In a dry spot, a place,
literally
a dry spot where there is no water.
It might work.
Maybe.
Call me crazy. It might work, Scott.
I got 2.5 acres on my lot right now. We could do this right here.
Oh yeah, makes it even easier.
No, it's. I agree. Going to smaller shows is definitely where it's at, because here's something I noticed specifically at Robo Toy Fest, right? And that was a lack of vendors that sell exclusively pops, right?
Yes.
Vendors had pops, but it wasn't walls of pops in multiple vendors, right? It was a mixture of modern and vintage and retro and actors. We were sitting right across from Arthur Burghardt, the voice of Destro, and that dude is nuts. I love him. He is so freaking crazy. He's great. Yeah. But it was that kind of an intimate show where you could just pretty much anything you could find was there. And those are the kind of conventions that you really need to get behind, right? And it's not a Frankensons, because yes, Frankensons is free to go in, but you are not going to find the selection. You're not going to find here's my philosophy whenever it comes to having a booth. Everybody that walks into my booth, I will say hello to you. I will start a conversation with you. I will explain to you everything that's going on here. I will make deals. I want to talk to people.
Yes,
that's what it's all about.
Sure.
If I walk into a booth, when this is Frankensons, if I walk into a booth and the person is too busy just looking down at their phone to even acknowledge you walking into their booth, I walk out. If you're not going to wait, if you're not going to spend 2 seconds to say, "Hey man, what's up?" or "I'm out."
You know what you're selling. Are you looking at? I've seen you do it a couple of times. Hey, you know what? Are you looking for anything specific? See if I've got it for you. And a couple of times, people are like, I need this. You're like, boom, it's right here. Like, you know your product. You know what you're doing. Yeah,
exactly.
Been, for the last year or so, we've been going to more shows, especially outside California.
Yes.
And like I said, been in San Diego for now almost 30 years. So I've done the San Diego Comic-Con when the cons were Wizard World and we were all going to them.
Wizard World, yeah.
That was great.
I've been to LA Comic-Con, and we've set this on the SKN channel, Chet and myself. I have enjoyed the smaller shows because of sense of community. And because he's in the chat and everything. So if you haven't met him in person, Rhino Hobbies is just a downright great individual.
Yeah.
And it's such a pleasure. And when he walked up and he goes, "Hey guys," it like made the convention go up a notch, because you were able, he's got some damn good stickers too.
Rhino.
I gave him a bear hug. I was like,
so did I. So did I.
It's such a good point to meet people. Scott was there. Darth was there, so many other people that you walk in and say hello. Eben that does the SoCal show. Yep. It's such a sense of community that is like you spend time, you speak to people. There's not the hustle bustle of I got to get to this next panel. I got to get to this. I'm too busy to speak to you. Drop dead. It's a great sense of community. And you're right. This was Robo for the first time. Tor Sorceress came in from the Toy Habits channel. And I've met her a couple of times and we're friendly. And I said, "What'd you get?" Well, she picked up some classic Joe items and everything. And then she scored a Dagobah playset in the box for one of her friends.
Dagobah.
I like in the box. Like, I'm like, how many times are you going to see that and see the items that before? There were so many great items there, loose in box. Their prices weren't crazy.
No.
You weren't walking up and looking like, "Oh my God, they're out of their mind," because they're not paying for, look, Scott and I both paid as a vendor. You paid it too, Darth. The tables were extremely reasonable. Yeah, they were not out of the way crazy. Go down to San Diego Comic-Con, and you know why they got the 4 or 5 booths? Because you need to make that amount of money.
They got to hustle.
You got to. I don't have time to talk to you because there's literally thousands of dollars on the line here. So,
right.
I like the sense of community. Robo Toy Show, if you haven't had a chance to get to it, you definitely want to show up. The smaller shows is where one, you can find items that you probably are not going to find because you have different vendors. Those vintage vendors aren't going to spend that money in some of those bigger conventions. So it's just great, the sense of community. That's what makes those so fun. It's like you just get to hang out with your friends, and it just feels good, man.
Yeah. And here's the thing too. If say Adam, because I know Adam lives in the Midwest, right? If Adam was to come out here, fly into Burbank Airport, walk across the street, there's the hotel, there's the convention.
Yes.
I mean, you could do it all in one and then walk back across the street, get back on a plane and take off, right?
That's the convenience of that location. Really,
that spot is awesome, right? Yeah. And trust me, I'm literally across the street. I got lost leaving the place. I made a wrong turn and had to go through the
we almost
had to go through the terminal. we almost did. All I was looking for was Starbucks, and I almost hopped on a plane. You know,
exactly. Commander Bly, ICCC Con is a chill community vibe. I really think you guys love it. No, you guys sold me on it. Bly, you and Tommy sold me on it. Like I said, I think we're going to put that on a priority list, and and like I said, and then we have a destination, and we already know people. Let's go out there and do a hangout. I think it'd be fantastic. And a different experience than what we're used to. And then, like I said, and I've seen some people in the chat about a Sarlacc Con and all that stuff. And
I think that'd be a great idea, brother.
Yeah, Sarlacc meets Burning Man with dorks. I mean, who doesn't love that?
Right?
And again, that's why it's great to hit the notification button and subscribe and like and all that stuff, because I mean, like, this might be something we might be talking about in the future, very, very soon future.
I love the fact that Adam calls Robert Bobby Lemons. Also, that's been our nickname for him for years. That's good old Bobby Lemons. That's who you bought your prune face from, wasn't it? You bought prune face from Bobby Lemons.
Yep.
Oh my god! Oh, and Rhino Hobby also made the left into the airport as well. Not the only one.
You can live in Southern California your whole life and still get lost. It's not. That's Commander. So we're writing a business plan out at basically on trying to take a vibe and some lessons learned and some do's and don'ts and stuff like that. And we're trying to, bring some of that flavor on our side of the nation here a little bit. Not trying to reinvent the wheel, just trying to make a better wheel. You know what I mean? And I think we've got a good plan, and for the most part is to invite people and have, like I said, a real sense of community, and like from all over, being where we're at. It's like I said, it's a very, very big dry spell. We got to travel everywhere. It's not a thing. And we've got a lot of people up here.
Huge collector community. Yeah. No outlet for us unless we want to drive an hour and a half to Frankensons and be disappointed. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So just imagine if we could have like a Robo Toy Show, SoCal Joe Show type show in our neighborhood. Right. And I know that doesn't mean much to the guys on the East Coast, but we would love to have you out here, and imagine a spot where we could do podcasting at the same time, like Shadow Nose did at the Robo Toy Fest, right? I mean, what a great time, right?
Yeah,
it is.
And Warner wants to New Mexico, so I guess we're gonna put this on wheels and do a traveling show.
I have to do that.
Okay. That'd be cool too. Yeah, we can all pile in Scott's car and do it. Let's just go.
What we did yesterday morning, 4:00 in the morning, and I'm I'm picking up Darth Moocher at his place, and I'm like, oh my god, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But it was worth every second.
It's worth it, man. I was looking forward to even Saturday. I was like, oh man, tomorrow, hell yeah, I can like do this. I can hang out, and it'd be again. I went there with like zero pressure with not having a booth this year, and I actually enjoyed it, but it got my wheels spinning for and you guys know I don't just go just to go. I just go make a thing, make it big. So
whoa.
Oh, all right. There you go.
Bliss transmissions roaring through Sarlacc Con. Better not be any TVC there.
Hey.
He had to just throw it in.
But you know what?
Good gesture.
I saw his haul from ICC, and I seem to
too many
a few little Happy Meal toys, as he calls them.
But they're all clones for in his defense, So he would travel out west for something like that, enjoy the street.
Oh
dance,
we love it.
Tommy. we miss you, man. We will definitely when you're
Yeah.
back and have a lot of news to catch up on and see what's happening. So thank you very much, Tommy.
you, Tommy.
And then go enjoy your day, man. Go enjoy your day.
But as we were saying though, I think that's what we're probably going to start focusing on. I know we do that over SKN, but we really should get to all the rest of the guys in where we're multi-streaming on the channel so it can get over, so people over Sarlacc over here can know what some of our events that we're going to are like and not actually have to show up. And I know that like with the ICC, Tommy really kind of like I didn't have to go there to know, like I wanted to go there because I saw the vibe, I saw the people, I saw the enjoyment, and you're like, yeah, that's where I want to go. And again, I just saw Rhino Hobby said that, at a certain age, it's not about you sitting there hustling and trying to do a bunch of things. It's like you want to just go speak to good people, have a great smile on your face, enjoy the show. Yeah. And then if you can get some items out of it,
that's exactly what I did. And I was like so appreciative. I'm like, this is awesome.
Yeah. Really felt good, man.
Rhino Hobby SKN doesn't mess around. They got that mobile AV unlocked. Yeah.
Yeah, they do. That's
something, like I said, I think it's great to have you guys paid for a booth and you guys go there and you bring the people to the convention itself. You get real detailed with it. I mean, nobody really thinks about that. Like as far as like that non-selfish, kind of act where you guys do that. You guys sit there and you're doing it for the experience, but for people to experience like what's going on in the show.
Yeah. And not to mention the fact that people are walking by, you're turning the camera and you're bringing them into the conversation, right? You're having that conversation. You're giving that person a moment on camera. And how cool is that, right? It's like the guy with the Buck Rogers and Tweaky shirt.
Exactly.
That thing was rad. He was so cool.
You make eye contact and you do right in. Yeah.
But that's, look, this is why we do this. I know Mooch, Scott, we've all talked about this, is that you can spend your time doing anything else. Yeah. What we can do is when we see you, acknowledge you, speak to you, give you a kind, expression and say, thank you for watching. Thank you for coming. It's, you meet so many terrific individuals and, we live in times where it's harder to say that. But when you do, it's like, man, I love our community. I love the guys over here. I love the guys over on SKN. I love the guys at Blitz Transmission or Purple Gang Gang or Toy Mercs or whatever. Yeah. It's just good to be with people that are good, man. And it just like you're tired at the end of the day, and every one of us was loading up, going home with a smile. Scott was smiling. Dart, everyone was smiling because it was such a great day, man.
Yeah. Adam S. Joe Fest is awesome, but getting to Augusta, Georgia sucks if you aren't driving the distance. 100%. And Purple Gang, which you mention all the time, they are going to be there.
Nice.
So again, representation is all around. So if you can't make it, at least watch these channels and they could bring that convention to you, and then you can plan for a visit. Like I said, with us, I really sat and I was like, we're going to make a conservative effort to really go out there and spread the Sarlacc.
That's right.
Well, it's just like you guys are our ambassadors because I've never been to Star Wars Celebration. I know it's in Los Angeles. It's not like a ride. Same thing with Chet. You guys are our ambassadors. We get to see it through your eyes. We know Tommy and Commander Bly and so many people that are great are going to be there.
Life-changing, man.
We have the opportunity to go there with people who have the experience and knowledge and tell us, hey, man, this is what you want to see. This is the events. These are the panels. This is what it's really kind of like, amazing to have that kind of hand holding in a big event like that as well.
Yeah. Nobody wants that Hellrunner base. Nobody wants that.
Well, you can pitch a tent probably, right?
Yeah. Hey now.
There's always tents being pitched at my house.
I bet. No, just to bring it back though to the being friendly to everybody in the talk and everybody that comes through. Yesterday, the very last sale that I made was to a guy also named Adam. I know he purchased from me, and I was having this conversation with him, and he was buying just a transformer, and he started getting kind of emotional, and I'm like, "What's going on, man? What's up?" And he goes, "Dude, my house burned down in the Palisades fire."
Wow.
And he said, I'm just starting to get back to some semblance of normalcy. And just me asking him, are you okay? How are you, man? It just opened up the floodgates. And the guy was just, it was nice having that communication, having that, you don't know what people are going through in their lives. And to be able to, I gave him a really good deal on this thing, and he was very thankful for doing that. And I was also told by a little kid that I am the nicest vendor ever because I gave him a comic book and I gave him an action figure for free. So that was great, right?
Not like those meanies over there. Yeah.
Right. It's that human interaction though. And it's lost so many times because people are in the hustle and bustle.
It is. Well, it is, right? Like the I don't want to talk back because it's sometimes some people that's their livelihoods, right? That's what they do for a living. They buy, sell, trade. But I've been in that. I've been on both sides of it. I've been a attendee and I've been a vendor for many years for other business ventures and stuff. And no matter how tired and how achy and how like hungover I am from the night before, whatever it was, I always had that personal connection to everybody that walks in. And it wasn't just to make a sale. It was just to, like Scott said, it makes the day worth it. It makes the day kind of like I'm here. And that was cool. That was a cool interaction. You know what I mean? And I don't blame anybody for having bad moments in their life, stuff like that. But but again, you're only there for a couple hours, and it's not that hard to.
Well, the same thing too. You notice how many of the kids. What makes me feel good is the little guys and the little girls that come through the conventions, and they have smiles on their faces. Some kid was like, he had a Miles Morales. I said, "Hey, buddy, what's that?" He's like, "Oh, this is my favorite character," and everything. Miles Morales. And you see that joy, and it brings you back to the reason why you do this, because you have that joy seeing their excitement and smiles on their faces. It's not about the dollar transaction. Sometimes it's just like, like the interaction you had, Scott. It's like, if you can just make contact with somebody, just be like, "Hey man, you're here. I see you." Are you having a good day? That's what some people just need, man.
Yeah. And like I said, one of our mission statements and for entertaining an idea of a convention that, we could be semi part of was that where it's like we're doing it for the experience, not as a business venture, and something that's needed as far as like as collectors, that we do something where the opportunity comes in where vendors are very confident that they could sell good holy grail items and buyers can find holy grail items. You know what I mean? And it's fun to put it on paper. It's gonna be a lot of hard work, but I mean again, anything in life that's worth doing should be hard. It just should be hard work. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to kill you, but it should be worth doing, and again, going back to some of the aspects of collecting, you go in there with a mindset, you go over there with a couple dollars in your pocket and you go, okay, what can I add to my collection from this area? Right. And there's always deals being made and stuff. And, I've been, like I said, been to a lot of conventions before and walked out with nothing and just like, oh, that was fun, but I walked out with nothing, And again, I want to see that more, the opposite more on these West Coast shows where the confidence of both ends of it's like, I think it's very important. And I've said this many times. I think the East Coast has a very good business plan. Midwest, they all like from just mid to the East Coast. I think I've seen it firsthand again because of SK bringing that news to me. I'm seeing that more. And I'm like, okay, it's getting back to the roots, like Comic-Con needs to get back to this roots cause of the people that are there are actually fans, not corporate, because they got a ticket, I got a ticket to Comic-Con. I don't even know what it is. Just going to go make fun of it. And I'm like, well, it's not for you, man. You're taking up someone's spot. And there's going to be a point where it's like, well, Comic-Con's just going to live in its own little world and we're going to have fun on this side of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or comes full circle. Yeah. Or
does,
So I got to say, I went into this just talking about sales, right? If anybody's interested in being a vendor, never underestimate what you have, because you never know what's going to end up being the exciting thing, right? So when I purchased this collection, right, a huge portion of this collection, I'm talking a massive portion of this collection, were old Hasbro 12-inch from 1995 to 2005, 12-inch Hasbro dolls, right? The action figures, the action collection and all that.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, and
we all did.
Right, 3 3/4 inch, episode 1, Power of the Force, the Saga collection, all of these figures, just boxes, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of figures that I'm like, I'm probably going to have to write off a bunch of this stuff as just a loss because the big items, like I had 3 Republic gunships and Arc 170 fighters and this, high dollar items that I still price reasonable, but that's where I was going to at least make my money back.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to bring the 12-inch figures down there.
Yeah.
But I did. And what sold the most, inexplicably, 12-inch figures.
Yeah.
I have hardly any of it left. It's all the 12-inch figures went one. People were picking through the $5 figure bins because all of my action figures were $5 a piece or less, right? And they were picking through it. And was the best item I bought was at Scott's booth. I wanted that. Oh yeah, awesome. I'm glad you did, Rhino. That was cool. Yeah. But one lady towards the end of the show came in and said, "I want all the figures," and she took all the figures and bought all the boxes. And all of a sudden, I'm like, "Well, okay." It blew my mind. I thought for sure it was going to be the gunships and the this and that and the other thing, but the 12-inch action collection figures from 95, man, on those things were just, they were hot. No, we're talking Hasbro, man. It's crazy.
The funny thing too is that I obviously didn't go in there for as many Star Wars, but that yak face really kind of, because Chet came on the table and he's like, "Holy crap, bro! It's probably the best price I've ever seen." And I was like, "All right, we get excited." So I went there looking for different things. Massive Joe fan. I've always done the classified, but I really started getting back into a lot of the vintage stuff. Didn't think I would ever find it, but I did bring it, have prepared for the show.
Yeah. Oh, I got to get prepared. Yeah. Let's see what you got.
I ended up finding a complete Mobat.
Oh,
with
nice.
the original Steeler.
Okay.
And it works.
Nice.
And the price was amazing. It'll go right next to my vintage Wolverine that I got with CoverGirl. But it's one of those things where it's like you went and said, "All right, I'm probably not going to find this thing anymore."
Yeah.
And then it's right there at the vendor, and the guy's like, "Well, you do love G.I. Joe." "Oh man, I love G.I. Joe. I can't give it for your price, man. This is the price I got to give it to you for." And it's like, that's what going to those small community-based shows was. He said, "I've seen you at a couple other shows. I've seen you on the other things." Like Commander Bly. Commander Bly is like, "Can I pay my $1 to kick off Bly now? Does it need to be? Can I kick off of your?"
That was a horrible buy, man. Yeah, I feel so bad.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take that off your hands just to make you feel better.
But it's that kind of thing though. When you're at those kind of conventions, smaller, the retailers, you meet them a couple of times, but yet also whenever they're getting items, usually sometimes they keep that in mind, like, "Hey man, weren't you looking for something like that?" And I know a lot of people told me that that's what they were getting over Scott. Scott just walked up to people, were entertaining, and you don't get those guys that are just like, it's a job. It's more like, "Hey man, I'm here. This is like a hobby for me on the weekend. I want to sell some things, but I want to meet people more."
Yeah.
I saw
my grail, the one that I picked up, and I didn't think I would ever have one. It's probably not completely uncommon, but I was able to get a vintage Hal Jordan Green Lantern carded Superpowers figure.
Wow.
And I am just ecstatic about it. I never thought I was my favorite superhero. And you people know how much I love Superpowers.
That card back looks amazing too, man. It
looks pretty damn good. Wow. Yeah.
No matter what Bly says.
Yeah. It's a whole vintage circle. Look at I finally got my second half of the Hoth Kenner base complete.
I saw that.
Nice.
With the probe. I went last year and I saw it there and I was like, "Oh, look, that guy's got it for $50." And I was like, "Okay." And we got so caught up in what we were doing, and I was like, and I left and I found the same vendor and it was there. And I'm like, "I'll take it. Please, I'll take it because it's clean, it's complete, and I was strictly looking for vintage stuff this time around.
Also, one of the services
let it know I'm the only one that bought a Star Wars toy.
True. Now let it be known the services that we do get, because sometimes we're there just streaming out of nowhere. We were like, "Hey man, you need to drop your stuff out on the table." It's not like we're selling things, so that's one advantage. You see Shadow Nose at the network, you watch Starlack, you watch us over at Shadow Nose Network. Hey man, you guys can I put my stuff right here? We will allow you to do that. Yeah, that's an extra benefit.
Yeah, I kept buying stuff. I'm like, hey, Alex, can you put this in my bag behind?
You're like, yep, we got you. We got you.
Just also if people are shopping around in your booth, if you happen to have a booth and people are shopping around, be kind, ask if you can hold the stuff behind the counter for them while they still shop. That had so many people continue digging. They were ready to stop, but I'm like, hey man, let me put that behind the counter. You can continue, and feel free, put things on the floor, look around, dig through, find what you want. And more people were so happy about that.
Yes, I can print my own toys at this point. I absolutely somebody asked, there was a vintage ad out there and it was missing the laser cannons, right? And like I made eye contact with a mutual friend of ours, and I was like, "We'll just print it." We'll just print what's missing. It's funny.
I thought about that.
I'm a purist. I need that. This is what 1983 smells like. 1981 smells like. So I need that. We've got B-roll. I think SCAN on the live coverage that we did. There was some B-roll on that.
I'll ask Chet
if we have some more.
If you're still in the chat, go over that link to yesterday's show. But you can always go over to SKN Shadow Nose Network to check out the show. It's up right now. It'll say very easy too. It's labeled Robo Toy Fest. We didn't make it too hard and everything.
And that, see, Blythe, this is where we got to get our mindsets into, is that B-roll, going on there, because I get caught up as
I didn't think about it.
An attendee, I get caught up so much of just like kind of getting in conversations and stuff where I should did a couple laps around the floor. So expect that to always room for improvement. Always,
absolutely.
So I went bald at such an early age. Yeah, that's
I know, right?
The talks off gassing in the again. Yeah,
I'm wondering how many people went around sniffing their TIE fighter pilots after I told them about the strawberry
blueberry or the strawberry shortcake.
How many people's TIE fighter pilots still retain this blueberry smell? Yeah,
Chet Maddox. There was no recon footage, so Wi-Fi, but that's one thing about conventions is the Wi-Fi are never good. I mean, no matter what, whatever hotel. I think you could just the signals. If the Wi-Fi is not good, then the signal's bad. So you can't use your data. Right? It's like So GoPros and just download and later. So that's.
We'll have to remember to do that next time around.
100%, dude.
Somebody walk around with a camera. I should have sent my godson out and said, "Here, Lucas, go."
I could have done because that's all I did. I just walking around, And
I tell you what, having a good support system also is great because Moocher went down with me, my best friend Jesse, who I'm went into partnership with this venture, and then we met Kevin from the Nerds with Attitude and the Exo Squadron. Kevin was down there, and he. Just these guys. Without these guys, we would not have been as successful. I would not have been able to spend time talking to people like that if it wasn't for the support system. And these guys were great. So again, Mooch, thank you so much, man.
You're welcome.
Jesse, if you're watching, thank you. Kevin, thank you. Yeah,
I don't feel like I helped out, but I was there talking your ear off all the way down, all the way up. So
you did, man.
Because I got there, the booth was set up. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go talk to Alex.
Dude, we walked in and Kevin had already unloaded and put everything out. Like, we just had to make it look good. I'm
gonna go find some coffee. Let's go.
I know. You never did bring me coffee, you son of a bitch.
Chet and I got the secret. Chet and I found secret passage. Actually, we charmed our way in to get coffee from the concierge over at the Marriott. Yeah, and she said, "Don't tell anybody." And of course, I told everybody.
Yeah, you did.
I told everybody.
You didn't tell me. You told me you got coffee. You told me you couldn't tell me where you got the coffee.
I promised the lady.
I swear.
Yes.
Everybody knows coffee's my lifeblood, man. Come on.
I know, but but you didn't want this coffee. It was so bad.
No.
Okay. It was, Miss White, the bland Marriott coffee. It wasn't,
it was delicious.
I don't know. When you have nothing,
when you have no taste buds, when you have no taste buds, it's all
better than nothing.
Yeah. What would be something that you guys go to a convention you want it, like if you found like a holy grail, and what would it be and what price would be like, oh, insta buy, like insta buy? What in your collections are you looking for that you probably would find at a convention at this point? You know, mine, of course, you know, again, if I was going to spend money, big dollar items, it's got to go towards my Star Wars collection, my vintage collection, right? That's it's got to go towards that, because I can't see, you know, paying something for something that was out a year ago,
right?
Because patience, you know, eBays and stuff like that, but something that's out of production, you know, I think I'd be looking for a vintage at this point where I would a complete. Well, I'm one of those people. If I'm spending more than $200-300, I want it complete and I want it to look good. I will be more. I don't want something that's broken or at the fix that's in the high price range where I'll pay the, you know, money for that completed version. You know, I am always looking for a vintage added or the vintage shuttle Tidarium. Okay, those are my two grails for the Kenner line that I am. It's like once I get those, even more than the figures, I would be like so happy. You know what I mean? I have it. I found one at this show, but it was missing some turrets and stuff. But again, he wanted like $250 for it, and I'm like, okay, from what it looked pretty good. But again, if I'm doing $250 plus, I'll spend a $350 for a completed nicer version, you know.
Sure.
Yeah. Sure. Since I would also have to go Star Wars, I've every piece of my vintage vehicles and play sets. I have boxes for all of them. And I'm currently working on picking up a carded sample of every figure. Right. Now, I don't need multiples. I don't need the Power of the Force card back.
Oh,
the Empire,
different
Return
backs.
of the Jedi. Yeah. I don't need the different card backs. I want one of each figure carded. Right. And of course, it's one of those things where Yak Face is probably just I mean, that would ultimately be the holy grail. But if I found one that was affordable, I'd buy it in a heartbeat, right? But trying to think realistically, I would have to go with one of two, either Walrus Man, the original vintage Walrus Man on a card back, or R5D4. I don't have either of those figures, and they seem to be, even though they made both figures over on all the card backs over the course of the 5 years that toy line reigned supreme.
Yeah,
and they made millions of them. I cannot find a good one at a decent price to save my life, man.
We opened the crap out of the New Hope figures. You know what I mean?
We really did. And, I found a Han Solo and Carbonite on card there, and it was $800. And I'm like, there's no way.
Yeah.
Right now. There's just no way. Yeah. And then I got excited. I got excited because I found a R5D4, $150 on the card. And I'm like, oh, hell. Okay. Okay. I walk over, it had been opened. The figure had been taken out, putting back in, and just putting a clamshell. And I'm like, I gotta walk away. It's not what I'm looking for.
The purpose. Yeah.
Yep. So it would have to be one of those two.
Cool.
All right. Star Wars, probably in-box, mint condition, X-Wing. Just because I had that as a kid. So from New Hope. It's got to be that one. From probably Scott uses this as a protection post, but the USS Flag inbox, that'd probably be
inbox.
Inbox. If I'm doing it inbox, and then last, my favorite character of all, the number one that started me down this path, it's got to be just a mint condition original $6 Million Man.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? Okay. I've only seen $6 Million Man stuff at Toylanta when you guys did
that was the only time.
I have not seen it.
I tried to jog my memories
booth,
on man. I could not get down to that booth the entire convention. I was so mad, but David Vonner was like, "Did you see the $6 Million Man the booth down there?"
I know. And, yeah. I mean, like that's one thing. That's what I love about like vintage, toy shows. So always that kind of push the vintage stuff. The smell, the toxics, the lead paint. That's what we love, right? So
Adam in our chat, he used to work at a place where he would see vintage stuff coming through all the time. And I thank him every day. Every time I look at my B-Wing fighter, because I have a sealed B-Wing fighter in my collection that has never seen the light of day. And It's funny because I bought it from him and it came in and Julie's like, how do you know it's really in there? And I'm like, it's sealed. And she goes,
Damn it.
somebody
So-
could have opened that up and,
True.
resealed
'Cause
it. I'm like,
but once you
I
unseal
trust
it,
Adam. I trust Adam. Look at Hal Runner Base. Open it.
open it on air. Let's go.
Man.
Then you'll know 100% that it's in
I know,
there.
right? I know.
Look at us. We're so evil.
I was
to take it down to your local hospital on like Halloween
X-ray
when they're
it, yeah.
scanning the
There we
candy
go.
and say,
Yeah.
I got this thing. This is candy too. I need this scanned as well.
Yeah. X-ray, $85
Oh,
X-ray.
sorry.
There you go.
Sorry.
There you go.
Okay.
Mando Mike, I picked up a mint with shipper and brown box package, complete unused Darth Vader action figure case. Nice.
Beautiful.
Chet's his grail when he's prototype Dinosaurs or Japanese My Pet Monster. Hell
There you
yeah.
go.
Oh, wow.
Or of course the Ray Fang mask.
The Rat Fang. Yeah.
Fang. Yeah.
Fang,
Let's
yeah.
see. Who else? Someone else commented what they were looking for. No. No. Mando Mike also a complete Ewok battle wagon with box.
okay.
With box.
I got that in Texas, man, at Dallas Vintage Toys. It's the only thing I ever
okay,
bought
yeah.
there. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a good purchase. I just remember flying back. I had to put it in overhead, and people, and just I have an Ewok battle wagon in the overhead compartment.
Look, here's horror stories are coming in, Scott. I opened a
Uh-oh.
sealed grill night last week. Hawkman was in there.
Oh, wow.
No, Adam, he is in our chat. If he did me dirty,
No, and that's why I kind of like appreciate the open collection this go around. You know what I mean? But at that, even I think in my original collection, I had a couple carded figures. I didn't think I had any boxed. You know, it's because that was like a pipe. It still is a pipe dream to have like a box collection of things. But I mean, I'm so worried about over time me damaging those carded figures. Or I know you can get cases and stuff, but like the yellow wing,
I keep it all.
O-rings popping on the Joes, right? Like those always that's always a thing to me. It's like, no, forget it. Like I don't need that stress in my life. You know, I'm like, it's a sickness, man. You know, it
is. I have to thank Mando Mike, because Mando Mike, it's with him selling off his collection a couple years back, I was able to finish my collection through him with the A-Wing fighter. So I got an A-Wing fighter with the box, because he would open up his toys and he kept all of his card backs and he kept all of his boxes. So I just got a nice case to put it all in, and it looks nice and pretty up there. Yeah.
Mando, he had every vehicle action figure. You guys know. It's all gone now, but I kept my Star Wars boxing X-Wing. It's all gone now, but aren't you rebuying stuff slowly? Like maybe not vintage stuff,
not
but
vintage.
I mean, yeah. I know, man. Hey,
you can always come over and visit his old toys in my toy room.
You gotta do what you gotta do. I sold my original collection off 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, but I used that money to start a business. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm good. And I had a very extensive vintage collection too, along with the Power of the Force, but like I said, I've bought Boba Fett 3 times in my life, the same figure. So over the course of, I probably paid $300 for a regular, just Boba Fett, but hey, again, it's if I sold this one, I'd probably be buying it again, in 10 more years. So
for another $100 added on to that.
Yeah, because now I was finding Boba Fett's at 65 to 85.
Yeah,
which is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
It's gone down in a little bit, but I think I bought this one, the one I have now, for 40. And that was a couple years ago. Yeah,
I gotta say though, I do believe those prices were good because of the show we were at. Because you go to Frank and Sons, you're paying that.
Oh
premium. You go, It's you were
find
talking
them
about
at Frankenstein's first off, and then
I know. You were talking about going to a show. There's nothing worse than going to a show, spending time and leaving without anything, right? You found nothing. And that's how it is every time I go to Frank and Sons. It might be free to park and free to get in. If you can find a spot. But I guarantee you, unless you're looking for a pop, you're going to walk out of there empty-handed.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah. And like I said, I think it's a lesson learned on both ends, right? If people are going seeking grails and stuff like that and finding them, then people are more inclined to do that, and then vendors are more inclined to bring more grails to the shows rather than rather than like the pops phrase. Like, I'm just gonna buy pops because they sell. But you know,
Franken nuns.
Frank and Son's benefit though is if you haven't been to a big show, see a bunch of stuff like that, you have the opportunity.
You can get
but also
fix.
it's the meetup quality. Look, there's a lot of great restaurants and things up there.
Yeah.
It's meant to meet up, have a good time. But
if Rhino's in town,
party barbecue. Bring barbecue, you know. We need to do a massive meetup.
Don't order off the premium menu.
Yeah, guys.
And no chicken. No chicken.
No chicken.
If you have a group of 10 or more or whatever, no chicken. It's only about the steak. Just tell the waitress, just bring it. How many orders can we do at a time? Three steaks. Boom. Yeah. Start off with 3 steaks, to order 3 more, and then go into the other stuff. And then anybody who had a big party, because you only takes one person to order off the premium menu for everybody to get upgraded, even though you didn't touch it. And that's hundreds of dollars in the restaurant's pocket for your little $15 upgrade. Yeah. Don't do it unless it's a collective decision.
Agreement.
Okay? Just put it out there. Have some courtesy, man.
True. Absolutely. And have Rhino Hobbies man the grill.
And bring cash.
and bring
cash.
Yeah. Bring cash. Yes.
My God.
Bring cash.
I've never been so panicked before seeing a bill in my life.
Well, Rhino Hobbies had no intention of buying anything. I walked out with much needed additions to the collection.
Yeah.
Great sign. Again, great sign for the convention itself. You know what I mean? He's 20 minutes from Burbank. Hell yeah.
Right. Okay.
We're an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah. Clocked it. And that's on a good day. That's on a Sunday morning.
So Sunday morning. 4 a.m. on a Sunday morning.
Stu John, I have a really small appetite, so group food orders never work out for me. Yeah.
I wish I could say the same, but nope.
Yeah. Commander Bly is only 2 days from Burbank.
I told him on Friday. We told him he could.
You can save money on renting a car because you could just fly in. So actually,
and walk across the street.
Yeah.
That's it.
My God. But save that thought of visiting for Celebration and the toy chest.
The thing. Yeah. We're not going to drop a name just yet. Let's get into some planning first.
Yeah. Everywhere in LA takes 20 minutes to get to. Maybe
on a good day.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was just going across the street to the airport. Took 20 minutes
on helicopter. Everywhere in LA, on a helicopter. Yes.
God. You can usually walk to your destination faster in downtown LA than you can driving. So
yeah, Hell Runner is 12 hours.
Okay.
You're in Arizona, right? Or New Mexico? So about,
New Mexico, I think.
Yeah. I gotta tell you, that's not a bad drive going all the way to Atlanta. That actually from California to Texas was great. Now beyond
once you're in Texas,
it became the kiss of death
through it.
So from New Mexico to here, that's actually a pretty good drive. Actually,
yeah.
Isn't it kind of worth it to just kind of go around the border of Texas just to stay out of it?
I would tell you,
make sure you have a full tank of gas.
I would tell you it was probably smarter to go south. We really wanted to do that, but there was flooding and everything going through. So we went through the Oklahoma pass, and I swear to God, it was almost impossible not to think about harming yourself or someone else about a good 6.5 hours going through Oklahoma. I can tell you that.
God. Hell Runner Base, is it wise to visit Galaxy's Edge during Celebration? I've never been, and it might be the only chance I can go. Absolutely. Start saving up the money now.
If it's the only chance you can go, then I'd say 1,000%.
You have to, man. It is life-changing.
I went to the last time Celebration was at Anaheim. I was down there for the day before we were going to meet up for Celebration, and I'd made a Disneyland trip. So went to Celebration there, and I think they were doing Star Wars Nights at that same time. That I don't know about Star Wars Night when they do those special nights. I don't even know if they're doing it anymore, but
they do.
Okay, but in the future, if they're going to, that's what.
Gotcha.
There's some word, but no, just the fact that if you're going down there and your mindset is Star Wars, and who knows, we might even have a meetup at Disneyland first You know,
We
especially
could
like
do
if-
our
if
own
people are-
saber meetup or something. That'd be
yeah,
awesome.
you know, like it's gonna be a thing, you know, and like I said, I really want it to just not just be like a drive down, drive back home. I want it to be a thing where
Yeah.
it's an event. So we make this, you know, couple days long and do some things and then hit celebration, you know, and then have a great time. Like I said, we're trying to organize it in our Discord right now, our Discord as of right now, but we will do special playlists on the road to celebration as it gets closer and stuff, to where we can bring all this information of like, here's a Groupon Disneyland thing, here's this hotels, here's that, you know, we kind of like you know, where it's centralized to everything, how to get around LA, stuff for people who've never been to LA. You know, because this is downtown LA now. This is
Yeah, Hal Runner Base he says he needs somebody to show him the ropes of Disneyland. Man, we are your people. Mooch and I, we've been I've been a pass holder since '98, and I've been going to since 1974. So it's we could show you the ropes, man.
Yeah,
Commander Blood. Dude, there's a difference between believing in Disney parks and going to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just walk through Disneyland to get this Galaxy's Edge and you'll be a happy guy. Okay, now I was going to highlight this comment myself.
All right.
Because just an inside joke. Whenever we were driving home, we were trying to think of a name for what our show might be. And we kept adding words to make it the longest title of a show ever. And that, the trademark copyright 2025 Sarlacc Tatooine Desert Raven Vintage Toy Show is almost as long as some of the description names we had come up with. So,
and then add .com to it. Mando Mike's never been to Galaxy's Edge. This could be like a good group. This would be an awesome group to take to Galaxy's Edge, and then you know, get back. But yeah, I mean, if you're planning on it and you don't get here too often, I think if you've got the means to do it, I would say make it a week, man. Make it a week visit. Again, you'll be with friends, you'll be with people who, you know, we could try our best to try to like organize some things, and you're gonna explore some California, man. Like it's despite what you hear, what you hear on the news and stuff, it's not. It's bring money though. I mean.
Yeah, so there's expensive. A reason why they came a song called California Dreaming.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a reality to being here.
Let me just say, Ontario Airport, Burbank Airport, Long Beach Airport, great options. Great options. Do not go to LAX.
I mean,
take
unless
3 days just to get out of it.
Unless no one's picking you up and dropping to your hotel at like celebration. That would be like the last hope, right? If we could pick someone up, we're picking them up on the way. Let's go, boom, boom, right? So Ontario is a way better airport. LAX is a nightmare, but
but if you're going to Disneyland area, Long Beach,
Irvine,
Ontario's great. Irvine, there you go. If you're going to LA, maybe try the Burbank Airport and flying through there. It might be a bit of a worse. It might be a longer drive, miles wise, but you won't spend nearly as much time on the freeway. So
born and raised, Stu John, born and raised, Orange County, baby.
What to talk about?
Yeah, I know Orange County better than I own my own 2 acres out in the desert, no man's land. In fact, I don't know what's out there, so if you're gonna stay,
man. It's anyway. Yeah, we're hoping to get people out here.
John Wayne,
get people.
Nice.
Yeah,
there you go.
Get people out here for celebration. Get people out here for the thing that
I love it, dude.
To do.
I was so excited when celebration was announced. I was like, "Oh man, you know why? It's because we get to. I mean, it's been here several times. So I was excited for us, but I was honestly excited for the possibilities of like bringing a group and having fun and seeing everybody. Just seeing other people's experience. That's another reason why I love going to Disneyland with people who haven't been there, is to see their reactions and stuff and their expectations. You know, Disneyland isn't Six Flags. You're not going to thrill seeking. It's not that. It's a different kind of like experience, and I'm preaching
especially Galaxy's Edge.
It's that transitional walkthrough, right? That's magical every single time. So
every time. Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, do you have any last comments, final thoughts before we wrap it up here?
I want to thank Rhino and Alex and Chet and Dr. Brantley and Rad and Darth Moocher, all of you guys, for just being freaking awesome human beings, man. Just coming by and hanging out and saying hi and just, it's a great group of people that we have here. So yeah.
Absolutely. I will most definitely agree. 1 year on meeting you guys.
Yeah.
Been an absolute pleasure to spend time with you guys, get to know you, attended conventions. The community over here on Sarlacc has just been more than welcoming. No matter how many times Commander Bly comes over and gives us crap and everything, we love him for coming over.
Yeah.
Tommy Bliss Transmissions, everyone that we get to meet.
He's all right.
It's just a pleasure to be associated with just good human beings.
Awesome. Yeah, I second both those sentiments, and I will just close at this. It's like when you, and I've said this before, I'm a stickler where if you say you're gonna be somewhere and you come through the next day and you pick up that phone and Alex on the phone, like me and him never really, we got to chat for 5 minutes at last year's Robo Toy Show, but when you and I got together and talked, it was a 3-hour conversation before we even got to what we were talking about.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so again, you never know. And again, one of the main things for me is like, if you say you're going to call me and you do call me, that puts you up 1,000 more notches versus like, oh, I met you 5 years ago and you never called me, or we never hooked up on that.
Yeah.
I know life happens, but like, it means a lot to me when people come through what they say, what they're going to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so not that I'm like so important that it needs to happen, but I'm just saying in life, you should be able to do that.
Rely on people, right?
Yeah, exactly. So everybody in the pit, thank you guys so much. Again, you guys are the Sarlacc Digest too. This is a whole collective community, and we will see you on Wednesday, of course, when we break down Star Wars. It just is when you think we have nothing to talk about. Oh my God. Actually, we have a really cool subject coming up on Wednesday, and it has all to do with Sith Lords and everything. So it's gonna be a very educational podcast, I think, because there's stuff that I didn't even know about, and I know everything about Star Wars, like even more than like. No, I'm kidding. Not kidding. But anyway, that's what's going on at Sarlacc Digest. We will see you guys on Wednesday. But Alex, of course, we're going on right after you guys on the Toy Box Chronicles. So it's your turn.
Hey, just also want to address this because we see all the comments. Mr. Stu John Jedi said, didn't know about the t-shirt. Hey, head over to holygrailtoys.com. They sell all of our merchandise. Pretty sure at one point we'll get the Sarlacc merchandise over there too.
Yeah.
But go over there and anything you want to buy on the shows, Toy Box Chronicles, all the rest of the stuff, it's there. So if you need it, it's there. The color, size, they'll get it to you, ship it out to you quickly. Hey man, rolling like we're just taking off the momentum of this week, man. I always love when I can start my Mondays over here in the toy chest.
Yeah.
Drop on Wednesdays, Toy Box Chronicles. A lot of stuff is going on in the toy world that we just continue the Monday conversations on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Friday, Pixel, Plastic, and Ink. Oh, a lot of things to talk about in the world of films and everything. Summer blockbusters have started already. That season's going through. Record numbers are starting to hit that stuff. Stitch is killing it on the box office for a lot of people. So make sure you get over there for all your Friday dues. So you got like Monday this week, a Wednesday show, and a Friday show. So
no need to go outside.
You don't have anything. And then on Saturday, you can catch those Purple Gang guys. So you got a whole week of stuff. 6 o'clock's Toy Mercs, man. So Wednesday night, there's a lot of stuff over here that you can watch, man. So don't say there's nothing on.
Yeah. Some might say that SKN has their finger on the pulse of pop culture. I mean, I've heard that.
I've heard that.
Hey, just think of all the money you can save on sunscreen that you can then buy at toy shows just by staying indoors and watching all the shows, right?
No gas being burnt, Like I said, you don't even spend money eating out because you just make it at home. It's just a lot of cost-saving things for these shows, man. Great point, Scott.
Sandwiches, baby. Peanut butter sandwiches and
right. Can't even say McDonald's anymore, right? Because it's like
it's
expensive.
Yeah.
Helpful hint, unless you have the app, and McDonald's could be very valuable. But anyway, there's always a way. That's
one Black Series you can't buy now, Moocher, because you bought McDonald's. Jesus.
I know. $24.99 is
amateur.
I know. So bad. So bad. Blitz Transmissions, Tommy, thank you for piping in and hitting us with that super chat,
Thank you,
man. We
Tommy.
miss you. I think he'll be back next week to grace us. And again, we get the clones. We get the clone talk coming in, and that's because we won't do it, but Tommy will. Where we won't talk clones, Tommy will. That's
right.
That's
our other tagline. We've got many taglines.
Oh yeah, there's all day long. Again, all the links are in the description below. Our Discord's in there. Support, like, subscribe. Tell a friend. It's Bring a Friend week every week.
That's right.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you later. With that, Scott.
Keep it nerdy, everybody.
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.